In today's video, we are going to be building some steel bollards from scratch in the shipping container machine shop. I'm Peter. I've been a machinist for over 10 years. Sometimes I fabricate things, and this is one of those times. So you can come along with me and see exactly how I am building these steel bollards in my shop. For every terrible problem, there is a terrible solution. And it involves an angle grinder and a lathe. So I completely forgot to record this, but whatever. Cut these notches out for access for a padlock inside of each one. So I got these all at least tacked together. I'm gonna stick weld the insides of them. I can reach in there a little better with the stick welder. 5 of them held together. Today, it is raining and wet. So I have a solution for that. But at first I'm gonna start off in the container working on the receiving end of those things. So when I clamp stuff down, I try to remember a few principles here. And that's either that this is a basic heel clamp scenario. This heel needs to be the same height or slightly above the work. Same thing with this one. This is just the exact same. So slightly above the work here. This isn't ideal, but it works for this scenario. And the main purpose of this is to keep vibration down. When you're dealing with something, a large cylinder shaped like this, it's pretty hard to get it to actually stay put, because if you think about it, the surface area that this has engaged with the table is just 2 very small points along the T-slot. And when you go and you start running a cutter up here, it wants to shake around. So heel clamps aren't necessarily ideal for that because they can just move laterally side to side, but it should in the end cut down on vibration quite a bit. So I've got the one little clamp that you saw over here, and then I've got the big clamp set up here, and hopefully that's enough because I don't really want to deal with more than that because I have to do 5 of these. This is a 13/16 annular pipe cutter. It is for, as I said, cutting pipe, hole cutter. Normally these go in a special kind of arbor that accepts these 2 flats, but anyways, I'm going to use this drill chuck. Hopefully we don't get too much shaking or anything like that. So normally there's a little ejector set up on here too. I can't remember the name of the holder right now, but this pin goes in there, and then as you drill through, pushes up, and then the spring that would be above this, when you're done with the cut, ejects it. And so it'd be nice if I had that, but I don't. So, oh well. Looks like this is going in a column. So I can actually tell, you probably noticed that I didn't use any sort of centering mechanism, either an indicator or a edge finder or anything. And the reason for that is it doesn't really matter for this part. And if you look at the circle this thing makes right off the bat, you can see it's cutting a little more on that side than it is on this side. And that tells me that it's a little too far this direction actually. So I'm gonna bump it over a hair, not much. It's probably less than a 16th off center, which is fine because I already have this set up as to be about a 16th oversize. So I know that my hot roll is gonna fit in there. There we go. Just a little piece it produces, perfect for the scrap bin. On to the next ones. So this is a pretty cool tool, honestly. This hot rod, whatever it's called. It's just an induction heater, but as you can see, it handled this 3/4 inch round stock, no problem. It's not quite as fast as oxyacetylene, but I mean, in a small space like a shipping container where you need air quality, great. So I'm gonna test fit this in those parts, make sure that this size even works. Hopefully I don't have to go down a size after I drilled all those holes. Okay, so the goal here is that this opening that you see will provide access to this lock point. There's gonna be a hole drilled through this, etc. So we will see if we can get this go together. What I'm seeing right now is that this space is too tight between here and here. Definitely too tight. So I think what I need to do is actually take this and angle it differently. I don't think this thing's even gonna go together yet. So let's find out. Okay, so I've bent this back just a hair so that I get more space in there. This might be physically impossible with this exact design. So what I might need to do, maybe not, let's see what happens here. I might just need some more angle to it. Give it a little more positive angle. This thing's getting kind of hot. It's hot all the way down here, so. Probably be smart to tack this in there, give it a test run, but I think that works. I'm gonna have a 1/2 inch hole in there, and then rotate it around, should be able to lift it out of there. If your welder isn't getting the wire stuck, balled up in it every 10 minutes, you must have a nicer welder than I do. that is pretty cool. So you can see how it sticks in there like that. Drop it in there, rotate it in, and then there's that spot for my lock right there. Cool. So the dang MIG welder just keeps screwing up, and it's like every inch of weld I do, the thing needs to be balls up wire and messes it up. So anyways, I was able to weld that on with it, which is fine, whatever. But I'm gonna go ahead and use the stick welder, because so far, knock on steel pipe, doing okay. You can hear it warming up over there. Well, I suppose this could be going worse, but it could also be going a whole lot better. So let's see if we can clean that thing up. All right, so yesterday things did not quite go as planned. This is a little plate to keep you from dropping things down in the hole, such as padlocks. It should be right here. And I welded it in basically 4 places right there. So I'm gonna start by cutting this out of there. All right, so I've got this carbide burr, and I'm just gonna get in here. I nipped these with an angle grinder, kind of try and grind this out, and then get through the weld, and then hopefully be able to clean it up, and it'll look okay. I mean, no one's ever gonna really see this. It'll basically be underground, but anyways, that's so those are pretty much complete. I'm gonna weld little tabs, or whatever you want to call them, something to grip the concrete on those 2-foot sections, and then these things will be done. So we have 5 bollards welded up, ready to go. They're gonna sit here for a couple days, and then I'm gonna load them up on my truck, and I'm gonna drive to Portland, Oregon with them, where my brother and I are going to install them in the parking lot. Nice. Cross-cut it, I think.
I don't think so.
All right, so So, been digging these out, and it's kind of hard for me to film, but my brother has been at the hardware store and stuff like that, so found this, looks like 3-inch ABS pipe, covers up his irrigation line, luckily, so our bollards are just going to be placed a little bit to the right of that, and still working on the other 5, so starting on these outer 2, so that we can string line between them. Alright, so there's one fully installed bollard, the one on the other end is too, and we have cement around them with them set in the ground, and it's about 1 inch low, and then I put cold patch in, looks like this, put some sealant around it, and then there's your finished product. Here are all 5 bollards installed in the parking lot. The customer painted them bright yellow and installed reflective tape as per the request of the city. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I hope you'll subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.